Well, good morning, everyone. Hope everybody's having a wonderful, wonderful weekend so far. Mine just began, so super excited to just chill and rest. Todd is down there being Todd, crazy dog. But before I can get to the relaxation and the productivity that comes with being home for a couple days, got a grinder issue. See this bad boy right here? There we go. My Baratza Encore, which is an incredible grinder. It's not necessarily grinding the most consistently. Majority of the time when you set a grinder on a certain setting, about 80 to 90% of the grind size of the grinds that you're gonna receive are gonna be that grind size. But then there's a very, very, very small portion of that average grind, everything that you get in your bean hopper, your grinds hopper, whatever you wanna call it. There's a very small portion that's gonna be very, very, very small. And just like on the other end, very, very, very big. Now that is what we would like to call the very small portion, is fines. Been getting a lot of fines in my grind size, especially as I've been brewing V60 and trying to get these videos out for you. So today we're gonna look into fixing that issue. Sometimes you might need to call the manufacturer. Don't try to take on projects like this unless you are pretty familiar with your grinder and pretty familiar with the manufacturer's suggestion on how to fix it. Most manufacturers will allow you to send back your grinder to them if it's under warranty for a small fee. But if you have a little bit of expertise in the mechanical side of things, not necessarily just on grinders, but mechanical anything, you might be able to troubleshoot using the manufacturer's instructions online. So that's what we're gonna do, just to make sure that all of our grinds moving forward are doing pretty well. All right, so did a little bit of work on that Baratza right there. The big issue that I found in there was that it just needed to be cleaned. Sometimes all the parts in there get gunked up and caked with coffee grounds, because that's exactly what it is. It's a coffee grinder. So cleaned out some of the gross, nasty parts in there that were just brown with coffee grounds. I also took both a damp and a dry paper towel. You don't want something that's like soaking wet, damp. You just want enough to be able to pick up any sort of loose particles that won't get the part of the grinder that you're touching wet. I also go behind it with that dry paper towel just to make sure that everything's good. Water is one of the biggest enemies and friends of coffee. If you add water too early, you're gonna get early extraction. You just gotta add it at the right time. So make sure that whenever you use a damp paper towel on these coffee brewing devices, that you're also using a dry one as well. So that's gonna be the first step. We're gonna see if that works pretty well for us. If not, that's when we move to part replacement. And that's not super fun. So the next thing that I'm gonna look at is, if this doesn't fix the issue, then we might have to replace the burrs, which kind of sucks. There's usually, especially in the Baratza Encore, there are two burrs that are going on. There's one that is stationary up top and one that spins. When you adjust your grind size, the higher the number spreads them further apart, the lower the number brings them closer together. That's traditionally what, whenever you see that on a grinder. So the bottom one spins, and it's kind of similar to like if you have a knife that you use a lot. Over time, the burrs get dull, just like over time, when you use a knife, the knife gets dull. But the issue with burrs, there's not like a burr sharpener out there on the market. I wish there was. It'd make my life so much easier. But the next step is gonna be burr replacement, which is not super cheap, but it's also not super expensive. It's one of those things that we would have to save up for to replace. So we're gonna go to that next if this cleaning does not solve it. If you have a grinder that you use pretty frequently, you might wanna clean it about once a month. That way you're not dealing with these issues long-term and more frequently. So that's all I've got today. But before we go, I do want to remind you, tomorrow morning around 7 Central Time, we're releasing the next episode of our podcast on what's brewing. We're talking about brewed coffee options within the cafe. We're explaining it. We're talking about some misconceptions, and we're talking about how you can apply it whenever you go to a cafe to order coffee. We also, this is really exciting, we have a product review coming out on Friday for the Stumptown Holler Mountain Drip Kit. We received one at Coffee Champs a few weeks ago, so I'm really excited to try it out with you and see the results. I have never used one of these, so the results you're seeing are real time, and my reactions are gonna be real time as well. So stay tuned for those things. You can get podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts, we're available. And of course, the review on YouTube right here. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, staying up to date, turn on the notifications, do whatever all those YouTube people tell you to do to make sure that you're staying up to date with the freshest content for your coffee brewing adventure. So hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you tomorrow morning. And as always, happy brewing.